all Roman Catholics are going to hell, but are they really? Hi, I'm Jeremy. I'm a deep skeptic, also a pastor. Because fundamentalists and evangelicals are doing the same thing they say that are sending Roman Catholics to hell. When I was a kid, I got this tract that told me that all Roman Catholics were going to hell. It was a chick tract. It looked like this. And I believed it because I didn't have better data. That tract basically said that Roman Catholics were going to hell because they were adding things to the Bible, traditions, sacraments that didn't exist in the Bible. They were praying to saints instead of praying to God, and they had an earthly ruler, the Pope, that stood in the place of God. So let's talk about the sacraments. Roman Catholics have this pathway, that these things that you have to do in order to go to heaven. And I know this is an oversimplification. I'm not a Catholic, but we just have a little bit of time. Now, the fundamentalists and evangelicals, they have this idea that the way that you get to heaven is you believe these four really simple things. You say a prayer, and then that's it. You get to go to heaven. And oftentimes this is done in an altar call setting where a preacher presents this, invites people forward to say this kind of prayer. Problem is, that is not laid out like that in the Bible. You can't find any place in the Bible where it says step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, heaven. And so this doctrine that they have is added to the Bible. It's just cherry picking verses and arranging them in a way that makes sense, that they believe is the right way. And not only that, the fact that this is done in an altar call, you don't see an altar call happening in the Bible at all. So they have this practice and this tradition that they have added to the Bible in order to be saved. But what about praying to saints? So if you are a Catholic person who has cancer, you might light a candle and say a prayer to Saint Peregrine, the patron saint of people who have cancer, and ask that saint to get God to heal your cancer. And so the saint sort of acts as an intermediary, someone in heaven who is asking God to act on your behalf. And yet, the fundamentalists and evangelicals have this practice of faith healing, where if you are sick, you might go to a faith healer. They will say a prayer to God. They might blow on you, lay their hands on you, or push you down. And the power of God channels through that faith healer to heal you. The faith healer acts as an intermediary. The only difference is that the intermediary for the Catholics actually is believed to be in heaven and talking to God right there in heaven. But what about the Pope? This idea that an earthly person can stand in the place of God and make statements on God's behalf. Well, the Roman Catholic Church has this one particular dogma that is rarely invoked historically, that says that the Pope can make something called an ex cathedra statement, in which the Pope is speaking on behalf of God and telling everybody the one particular belief, the one particular application that is the correct one. I can't tell you, growing up, the number of times that I heard evangelical or fundamentalist pastors do this exact same thing. They will tell you, this is what the Bible says. This is the one correct interpretation of the Bible. And if you don't believe that, you're not believing the Bible, and therefore you are not believing God. This is an earthly person speaking on behalf of God and telling you the one correct thing. So if Roman Catholics are going to hell for doing all this, then the fundamentalists and evangelicals are also going to hell for doing all of that. But there's one more thing. Roman Catholicism traces its history all the way back to the disciple Peter. They say that Peter was the first pope, the first leader of the church. He's the guy in the book of Acts that makes the very first sermon. And back then, there wasn't Baptists and Methodists and Catholics and Orthodox. There was just Christianity. There was only one church for like 500 years. And the Roman Catholic Church says that they are the people who have carried that tradition forward. Obviously, there have been splits and splits and splits along the way. But if you say that all of them are going to hell, you are taking out the historical foundations of Christianity. That's a problem. And don't worry, I'm going to be doing some more videos with a little deeper dive into the Pope and the saints and confession, so stay tuned.